What's going on, all you real beasts? Magic Pat here, and I got another tackle review for you. So we're going to continue going down the same line of reels that we were doing before. I'm going all the way through the Shimano Tranx. So let's get into the 300, as you see right here. This is the 300 HG, so it's the high gear, just in case anybody was wondering. And I've been putting a lot of work in on this reel here recently, so yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So we're going to do this one a little bit different than usual. Most of the time, whenever I do these reviews, I've got the reel sitting in front of me and the camera facing towards my face. But this time, I'm going to try to get down here and let this view be on the reel so you can actually get a better look at it while we talk about it. So I've been using this reel now for probably close to a year. Not quite a full year, but I'm coming really close to it being a full year. And I've used it for everything that you can think of. Pretty much bottom fishing for catfish, which this is not what it was designed for. However, as y'all know, I like to use fishing equipment for things they're not designed for to kind of see what they can handle. So I've used this for bottom fishing for catfish and several other types of fish, redfish, black drum. I've used this thing for bass fishing. This is actually the reel that I use. I got it for my smaller swim baits for bass fishing. So it's very heavy duty. And I actually enjoy throwing this. It'll throw a big top water pretty easily. Throws a medium-sized swim bait pretty easily. I use those Huddlestons. I throw the 6-inchers on this, which even though they're a little smaller, they're still pretty heavy. So I also throw the mid-size, I think it's the 168 S wavers on this. You can't really beat how well this reel can actually cast heavy-duty lures for bass fishing. And also, in some of the videos that you've seen here recently, I have used this reel for gar fishing. Just because it's a heavy-duty reel, it's got a decent amount of drag. And, I mean, you know, gar don't put up as big a fight as other fish of their size, basically. They put up a good fight, don't get me wrong. They'll pull drag just like anything, but they don't fight as hard as, say, a redfish of the same size. So I put a decent size 1 to 2 ounce lure on the setup, which I'm using a heavy action rod with this reel, and a rope lure tied on to the jig head. Rope, basically it's white nylon rope. Y'all have seen it in some of the videos. They get their teeth hung into it whenever they bite. And I have been putting it to them. I've caught, I don't even know now. It's more than, I would say, 8 or 9 in the last week or two. It's been pretty ridiculous how well they've been biting. But this thing handles them absolutely flawlessly. So we're going to get into some of the stuff. So this is the HG, which is the high gear. And because of it, it gets roughly around 39 inches of line, you know, a turn. As you can see right here, I'm just barely cranking, and that spool is just going. When you ever start putting the pressure to it, this thing will fly. Another thing that I like about it, you can see right here, is it's got this large power knob. This thing feels amazing whenever you're cranking in a big lure or a big fish. Even though it's a high gear ratio reel, that power handle, you can feel the power as you torque in some of these fish. Some of those gar that I've been catching are upwards of 20 pounds or better. And even though they're streamlined and they come through the water with ease, when they turn sideways, it's kind of hard to get them to turn. This thing makes them turn. I can get their head pulled in real quick. So, actually, because I'm throwing the bigger swim baits, I'm going a little bit heavier on the line with this reel. So I've got 65-pound test braid. It's the Suffix 832. So I wanted that braid. First of all, I wanted to test it out. I've used it in lighter line on some of my smaller spinning reels. I wanted to try their heavier line because it supposedly sinks. Like the braid sinks better because it's got that Gore-Tex in it. So I put it on here. I wanted it to help my swim bait stay closer to the bottom because whenever I'm using my Huddlestons and some of my Savage Gear brim and things, I try to keep the swim bait swimming real low, close to the bottom, almost touching the bottom if I can. So this, with that braid on here, it's supposed to help keep it in that strike zone better. It's done flawlessly. I've had no issues with it whatsoever. Because of the drag pressure that this reel puts out, I decided to go a little heavier. It doesn't have as high a drag as their other models. The 300A, I think it is, has like 22 to 25 pounds of drag. This one, because it's the high gear ratio, you can't torque on it as much as you can the other ones. So this one gets about 18 to 20 pounds. I have got it to 20 pounds of drag, and it still handles smoothly, but you can tell that you're putting a little bit of strain on it. Not that I think it'll fail, because this thing is solid. You know, there's a lot of reels that I get that sometimes I feel like I'm holding a toy. They feel plastic. This feels like you're holding a high-end piece of equipment. It's not really heavy, I would say, but it feels well made. So yeah, it's a 7.6. It's 7.6 to 1 basically whenever you turn the handle. So it's super fast. I've actually brought some of my lures in, not paying attention or skipping them across the surface. I have to really slow it down whenever I'm using my swim baits. We're actually going to do some more testing with it. So this is just kind of like a preliminary test that I've been doing with all the bass fishing and gar fishing. I really want to get into testing out how much they can handle. So I've been doing, basically as heavy as I can go with the 200 series. And they've handled really well. I use it in salt water and everything else. They do good. I'm going to actually take this down. So we have a trip coming back up. We're going back down to Florida with Joe from Chat Cats. I'm actually going to try to do some black drum fishing back in the back bay areas. Lock this thing down and just see what it can actually handle. I've yet to test a actual massive fish against this reel, which for some people, you say 20-pound fish, they automatically, that's a massive fish. But, when you go down and you hook into 40-pound black drum, that's a massive fish. So we'll try to see if we can't get one hooked up on this. I still have no problem saying that this is probably going to take care of it, no issue. The only problem we might have is being able to stop them from getting underneath the bridge and the pilings, just because with 18 to 20 pounds of drag, a lot of times it's not quite enough to stop huge runs from giant fish. But as far as bass fishing goes, this is probably my favorite reel. It's a little bit bigger than the 200. It's not as big as the 400. It fits perfectly in my hand, so I don't feel like I'm holding this little teeny tiny toy. It's got plenty of power. It's got plenty of speed, which is really fast. They have reels now that are like 8, 9, and 10 to 1. They're just super fast. 7 to 6 is pretty good ratio for what I like to do. It's a star drag, so you can click, and it's got a bunch of micro settings. You can really dial in how much drag you want. And cast's amazing. It's hard to tell right now because I've just got like the line rolled up onto the spool, but this thing casts like a dream. You actually have to be careful because if you don't have it dialed in correctly, it will backlash on you in a heartbeat. So you have to really learn how to use this reel as best as you can. And even now, I still sometimes mess up and get a little too enthusiastic and will backlash this thing. But the good thing is the braking system on it and everything is so good that never becomes like a huge issue. It's usually I pull a little bit of line off by hand for a few minutes, and it's good to go. It's not like, you know, back in the day, the first reels that I ever got, if it backlashed, you were all day sitting there trying to get the braid or the mono out, and you end up having to cut half the spool. It's not like that. These things are very well balanced. You can actually take, which I'll show you here, if you flip this little switch right here and twist up, the side plate comes right off. You can actually go inside here and adjust how much spin you get whenever you're casting. You can actually pop these little plastic tabs up. I've only got like one or two. I've got two of them up just to help. But that will help also control your cast whenever you're throwing those big lures. If I can get this bad boy put back together real quick. It's usually pretty easy. I'm actually struggling a little bit right now. Normally, I can pop this thing in and out, no problem. What's up, man? Oh, that's why. Spool put line inside of it. I had to stop it right there real quick to put the side plate back on. It's actually a bad representation of it because normally I've actually had to do work on this, like try to get grime or whatever. I dropped it in the sand one time, which, you know, that's why the scratches that you see on it are there. And I've had to pop the side plate off and clean it out and everything, which most of it doesn't get inside the gears. It was just a really freak accident. But the side plate comes on and off with ease. It's just because I've got this line just loosely wrapped on here. When I tried to put it back on, it got caught in it. So, you know, don't judge it on that. That was user error there. And usually you can just take it on and off, no problem. I do it out on the river all the time. It's actually super easy. I don't really know if there's too much else that I can tell you about this right now. Like I said, I've used it. I haven't had the opportunity of hooking any giant bass on this yet. Hopefully the day comes soon. All of my big bass I caught before I started doing YouTube. I've never had a chance to put one on camera for y'all. But if I do hook one, you'll see how this handles something, you know, because bass, you hook a bass on a big swim bait, you know, you can't play with him. You have to horse him in. You can't finesse it with a large bass. Some of the fish that I'm going to be going against this week, whenever I go down to Florida, I'm going to have to kind of finesse them a little bit because you're not going to outpower some of those fish down there. You got to play the long game with them. So real quick, this is at the end of the video right here. I know you're probably ready to go. Usually y'all stick around, you watch my reviews for a little bit, and then you bounce out, which I get. You know, tackle reviews are good, and a lot of people like them, but they're not like my bread and butter. But I have a couple of announcements to make, so if you give me just a few more minutes. So I've been doing 2 videos a week for almost half this year now, a little over half. And I've reached the end of all of the content that I've been able to get up to this point. So we're going to have to back it down a little bit until I can get more fishing in, because I have to balance fishing, work, life, all of that good stuff. You know, I can't just put my family on the back burner and go fishing 24/7. I'm not monetized yet. We don't get paid for any of this. This is all just right now out of the enjoyment that I have for it. And I love showing y'all what we catch and what we do and how we catch things. Just pure love. That's all it is. Just simple, pure love of fishing. So, but we're going to have to dial it back a little bit. I'll go to just 1 video a week here in the next week or 2 until I get more content built up. So it's not too big of an issue. I hate it because I love bringing y'all multiple videos a week. It feels good to know that I've actually done well enough this year so far to give y'all that kind of content. So that's one thing. The second thing is we are moving. I know y'all have seen us move several times now, but this time it's going to be permanent for a while. So we're finally getting a house. Everything has went through. We are now turning in our notice to move out of the apartment. We're about to start moving in, and it's going to be a little bit different. You're not going to see me in front of doors and walls in these apartments anymore. I actually will finally have a shop. So I will actually get to show y'all how I make rods and, leaders and all that kind of stuff without being cramped. I will actually have a working space finally. So that'll be pretty cool. I actually have my own yard to do, because there's a lot of tests and stuff I do with equipment that I can't do here without looking like a crazy person. I go toting one of my giant shark rods down the stairs, hook it up to a tree to test the drag pressure. I get people driving by looking at me like I'm a nut. So, which I don't care. I am crazy. I'm fine with it. Still, it's a little weird when you have 4 or 5 people standing off to the side watching you like you've got aliens standing around you or something. I mean, it's just fishing equipment, people. It's not a big deal. So we're going to have the shop set up. Until we get the shop going, it's going to be a little weird on tackle reviews. I might have to do them in like parks and stuff for a little bit. Speaking of crazy, people seeing you talking to a camera, they always think you're crazy. But just going to have to deal with it until I get the shop up and running. The third thing is that we did it. We reached 400 subscribers. I haven't even had a chance to do a 300 subscriber giveaway for y'all because I've been so busy. By the time I was ready to do a 300 subscriber giveaway, we hit 400. So, I mean, that's amazing, and I appreciate it. That's the best feeling in the world. I never in my life thought 400 people would watch me record fishing, but I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to have my own TV show. I have too much fishing knowledge to not share it with somebody, and y'all watching and being a part of this, it just makes it special for me. So I appreciate it, and I'm going to try to do a giveaway as soon as possible, because next thing I know, it's going to be 500. And if that's the case, then I should just wait till 1,000. But the subscribers it's tapered off. Like y'all, the spike went up, and now it's tapering back down as everybody's out for summer break and everything. They're out vacationing. So I think I got a little bit of time to do something. So I'm thinking about maybe a gift card or something of that nature, and just try to do a random giveaway through the subscribers. I'm only going to do this time the ones that are active on the video. Last time, it was too hard for me to try to go through and get all these people wrote down and try to chase down people to, hey, you won. Where do you want me to send your gift? Half the people didn't even respond to me. I guess they didn't think that they would win, so they never checked back in, which that's crazy. You're in a contest. You say you're in the contest. You should check to see if you're the winner. It might happen. You never know. So I'm going to get a gift card. If I can help it, I'll try to build up. And I might try to send fishing equipment this time. It might be not cheap. I'm not going to go get like dollar store stuff. But I might get a cheaper fishing setup to be a part of the giveaway. We'll have a couple of things to send out. Like I promised, and when we reach 1,000 subscribers, we're actually going to do a pretty big giveaway. So the faster we get to 1,000 subscribers, the faster that I can put out there some pretty good equipment. So, but that's it. I appreciate everything. If you're not subscribed, because a lot of y'all that watch me every week are not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It makes a big difference, and it doesn't cost you anything. Like some of our videos, because they're watching the likes. It's what puts our content out there in front of everybody. And if you got any questions, put a comment. Comment down there. Ask me whatever. Ask me about the fish I catch or the equipment. I don't mind talking about it. Like, I live for this. So, anyway, I'm going to catch y'all back out on the water. Peace.